We have wanted a MaxxAir van since we stayed in Utah in 90-degree weather boondocking. Completely our fault, our mistake, but the most miserable night we have had in the camper. And that's how long it's taken us to actually pull the trigger and get these. We actually found these from a company called eTrailer. They have all kinds of parts and stuff for trucks, for trailers, and for campers. We have 3 vents in our 2600 RV, but only 2 of them are wired for fans. So right now they have just the cheap fans in them. One's in the bathroom, one's in the living room. So we're going to try to replace those 2 with the MaxxAir fans. Lay down. Thank you.
Here we go. Okay. Wires, that's all there is to it. Alright, this should go on the roof.
Yes.
And this should go inside the camper.
What did they say about the metal clips?
Make sure they're on the sides, right?
Oh, look at you, you were listening.
This is what goes
That's
on the
inside.
inside.
That goes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing that we're going to do is start getting the Dicor off the top. The old fans have Dicor around the top, and all that is a sealant to keep water from getting into it. It is really difficult to get off, but if you guys are replacing your fans with the MaxxAir fans, I would recommend getting your Dicor offline ahead of time because it's really hard to find it in stores. In fact, we couldn't find it anymore yesterday when we were at the store. So go ahead and order your Dicor online before you install your fans.
Like Mike said, the Dicor is going to be the most difficult part, and people say if it's too hot, it gets really gummy and it's difficult to get off, and if it's too cold, it's almost hard to get off. So we've got a cool, probably 70-degree morning right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we can get it done before the day really heats up because it is supposed to be in the 80s today. So from what we've read, the best way to do it is to use like a paint scraper or putty knife to get this Dicor off. But you have to be very careful not to actually scrape the camper roof because it is like that rubber flexible stuff and you can tear your roof. Obviously we don't want to do that. So we're gonna start and see how this goes. Okay, so obviously Mike was right. This is going to be the longest part of the project. So we're gonna attack this for a little bit, being very careful not to tear the roof. And I don't think you guys wanna watch like an hour of this. You know how I said you and I have very different approaches to how we do things? You can very much see it in the sides that I have done and the sides that you have done. I'm very much like perfectionist.
What do you mean?
This is Mike's side so far. And this is my side so far.
No, you wouldn't be like that. So I'm gonna try to take some of these screws out. It looks like these are square heads, and it looks like a number 2 square head actually fits them. So when we were at the hardware store yesterday, I wasn't sure exactly what I needed to buy. So if you are replacing your vent fans in this particular model, it looks like number 2 square heads will fit.
So partway through removing the Dicor, I realized we don't need to take it off the metal part. The metal part's just going in the trash. So really, I just try to get it off of the screws and then separated from the edge of the roof. So as you can see here, it's just like separated enough that we can lift that vent out. And I don't know, perfectionist in me is like, I want to get all this Dicor off, but at the same time, we're just going to be putting more on top of it. And that's how you repair your Dicor, is you should put another level on every couple of years or so. So I don't know, it's kind of killing me to see how like uneven it looks, but I don't know that we're going to pull all of this Dicor off.
I'm going to take this trim piece off inside the bathroom. Here's where we're starting. So there's a trim piece that goes right around the top. I'm going to remove the screws first. Oh, that just came right out. So I got the trim piece off of the bathroom. There are exposed wires, which means I need to kill the power.
All right, we've got the old Dicor off. We've got the old fan completely off. It looks kind of wild. But the next step is to put caulking or a sealant along where we're going to put the roof flange. This is what we found. We've seen some people use Eternabond. We could not find that in the time that we had. So this is a leak stopper waterproof tape. It's good for plastic and rubber, so I feel comfortable putting it on here. So we're gonna cut it and put it just basically where the roof flange, which is this, is supposed to go. Really important, really important. Of course, I've read through the instructions 3 times. Mike's been listening, so he knows too. These metal clips need to go left and right, so towards the sides of the vehicles. And this O-ring type part goes up because that's what the MaxxAir is going to fit into. So it's simply just gonna go like this, and then we'll screw it in. We're gonna put the sealant tape along here, and then we're gonna put this down, and we're gonna screw it in place. All right, so we've got that sticky tape stuff all along all 4 sides of this. So we're gonna flip it over and Mike's gonna screw it in place. And we're not gonna drop anything through this hole today, right Mike?
I already did.
We love making videos for you all. We love sharing what we're doing, but it is inevitable that if we were recording in a campground, someone will either bring out their leaf blower or it'll be mowing day. Even if like yesterday was mowing day, somehow today is also mowing day, and they are bush hogging today. Can't blame them. This is their campground and they need to do work on it. But it does make it difficult to record for you guys.
So the next step we're going to do is we have our tape on. We're going to put our screws in around the edge. Then we're going to Dicor and put the fan on top. So hopefully by the time we get done with that, maybe he'll be done bush hogging.
Yeah.
So I'm going to caulk over the screw on the top here and make sure that I get that lip really well. And my caulk gun broke, so I'm just going to have to make the best of it as it's coming out the edge.
Oh, honey. All right, we are Dicored. Good?
Good, I think.
We used an entire tube on this one fan, so that may be overkill. I would rather it be overdone than underdone, basically. We used, again, an entire tube. We have a second tube. We also have some non-Dicor stuff if it comes down to it and we need more. This is self-leveling, so as it dries, it kind of spreads out. So you'll see it looks a little wonky, but it should be smoother. Next step, we have to open up the fan. So it is an electric fan, but you can do it manually too. So we'll open this up and then put it on there and screw it in place. Well, electric next, I think.
So it actually looks like these have terminals. So your wires coming in from the cab can actually go in this, and then the wires coming from your fan can go in the other side, the female side. So
and then they snap together.
And then they just kind of snap together.
That's handy.
I actually didn't know this came with that, so that's super nice.
The instructions said to put it in the provided whatever, but I didn't understand that's what they were.
Okay, so that's actually really nice because I bought those. I bought some connectors that aren't working very well for us. So we obviously have some tidying to do in here. I got to put these wires up. We also still have the trim to put on it, but I was just making sure that this is working before we continue and put the one in the front as well. I'm gonna turn this on. This is at 50%.
It's so quiet.
It is really quiet. Really, the only speed that it makes a lot of noise is when it's turned all the way up. But as you can see, it's drawing air the entirety of that fan, which is way more. It's actually quieter. It's drawing more air now than the other one, and it's also actually quieter than the other one. So there you go, the paper test. So I did mention this is the deluxe model, so it comes with a remote. What's really nice about this is you can hit auto. You can actually set what temperature you want the room to be. This is not necessary. This is the deluxe version. You don't really need the remote either if you're in a travel trailer where you can reach the ceiling, but only one of us can reach the ceiling, and that's me. So the remote will be really nice for Steph when she wants to set a temperature, turn the fan up and down. She doesn't have to get her step stool out to reach the ceiling.
My trusty step stool. Mike said when we got these, he's like, oh, the remote's nice for people in fifth wheels, so they can't reach the fans. And I'm like, Mike, you know that I can't reach those, right? Yeah. In our normal size travel trailer. It said in the instruction booklet that some campers have like a shallower ceiling, I guess, and like my dad installed one of these and he had to cut his down a bunch. So we're like, we don't have a saw. We bought a hacksaw at Lowe's yesterday. I was not looking forward to that part, but we don't have to cut it. Very nice. 2,600 people. You don't have to cut it. But we do need to get these wires up there somehow. The last step says, congratulations, you've installed a MaxxAir fan.
Oh, all right. One more.
One more. There's lots of big pros to getting these, but for us, a lot of it has to do with Cali or when we're boondocking. It'll keep the rain out, and they move a lot more air since we can't run our AC when we're not hooked up.
Well, that's what's awesome about them. They have a button on here that you can press and it automatically sets it to 78 degrees. So what that means is that it has a temperature sensor on it, and the fan will open up and run until it gets to 78 degrees, and it will keep that temperature.
Of course, we'll keep you guys updated on how these are working. One thing that I'm curious to try out, I think a lot of people put one where it's blowing air out and one where it's sucking air in, so it makes it like a continuous cycle of fresh, cool air into the camper. So I want to try that out. Yeah. Like Mike said, we're not doing it today. I'm too hot. It's too hot. Definitely check out the link below for eTrailer. Like I said, they have tons of things. That's where we found these fans, and they were on a good sale too. So very grateful that we found that site, because I anticipate us getting more things from them in the future.
We'll actually be testing these out this weekend. We'll be doing a boondocking trip on Saturday, which we will be sharing with you guys as well. So we will be testing them out then.
I'm sure you can already guess, but yes, it's a Harvest Host, and we haven't gone to a Harvest Host since last fall, so I'm super excited to try out a new one.
Make sure you're subscribed to follow along with that adventure. Check out our links down below if you guys are interested in these fans.
And we'll see you next time.